think you're calm. You're not. You're just suppressing. Every time someone disrespects you and you let it slide, that's not control. That's a delay. The anger doesn't disappear. It just waits for a softer target. Your kids, your girlfriend, your own body at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. Most men confuse silence with strength. They think gritting their teeth is discipline. It isn't. Real emotional control isn't about hiding what you feel, it's about deciding what you feel matters before you act on it. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact 5 reasons your emotions run you instead of the other way around, and the 2,000-year-old Stoic fix that actually works. Stay until the end, because reason number 4 is the one nobody talks about, and it's probably the one controlling your life right now. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. Marcus Aurelius wept. Seneca grieved. The Stoics weren't robots. They were men who refused to let a feeling decide their next move. That's the entire difference between you right now and the version of you that has real emotional control. Let's break down exactly why most men never get there and how to fix each one. 1. You were never taught to name your emotions. Most men can describe a car engine in detail, but can't tell the difference between feeling anxious, angry, or ashamed. It all just gets labeled as annoyed or fine. This isn't a personality flaw. It's a vocabulary gap created by how boys are raised. Man up doesn't teach regulation. It teaches suppression. The Stoic fix. Epictetus taught that the first step to controlling a reaction is naming it precisely. Not, I'm pissed, but I feel disrespected because my expectation of being heard wasn't met. That sentence alone diffuses 50% of the charge behind the emotion. Specificity kills intensity. Vague feelings control you. Named feelings become information you can use. 2. You react in the moment, instead of the gap. There's a half-second window between a trigger and your response. Most men have zero awareness that this gap even exists, so they skip straight from insult to outburst, from rejection to shutdown, from criticism to defensiveness. The Stoic fix. This is the entire foundation of Stoic philosophy, the idea that we don't control events, only our judgment of them. Marcus Aurelius wrote his private journal, Meditations, specifically to widen that gap every single night, reviewing his reactions before they became habits. You can do the same with something as simple as, before responding to anything that triggers you, count to 5 and ask one question. What does this situation actually require from me? Not what does it deserve? What does it require? That question alone is a circuit breaker. 3. You treat emotional control like suppression, not mastery. This is where most tough guy advice fails completely. Bottling anger, faking calm, smiling through resentment. That's not stoicism. That's a pressure cooker with a lid taped shut. Suppressed emotion doesn't vanish. It leaks out as sarcasm, passive aggression, road rage, or silent resentment that poisons relationships slowly over years. The Stoic fix. The Stoics distinguished between first movements, the involuntary spike of anger or fear everyone feels, and the response, which is fully within your control. You're allowed to feel the spike. The discipline is in what you do with it. Seneca recommended physically delaying any angry response by a fixed amount of time, even just 1 full minute, because anger always shrinks with time and grows with attention. Feel it, don't feed it. 4. You're addicted to being right instead of being free. Here's the one nobody talks about. Most men think emotional control means winning the argument calmly. It doesn't. As long as your peace depends on someone else agreeing with you, apologizing to you, or seeing things your way, You are not in control. You're hostage to their behavior. The Stoic fix. This is the Stoic concept of the dichotomy of control taken to its real conclusion. Your opinion of yourself, your actions, your effort, these are yours. Someone else's opinion, their apology, their behavior, never yours. The moment you stop needing them to validate you, the argument loses its grip on your nervous system entirely. Epictetus put it simply: you suffer not from what happens, but from your judgment about what happens. Drop the need to be right, and you drop 90% of your daily emotional hijackings. 4. You're addicted to being right instead of being free. Here's the one almost nobody talks about. Most men believe emotional strength means staying calm while proving everyone else wrong. They think if they can win the argument without raising their voice, they've mastered themselves. But that's not mastery. That's simply a quieter version of the same addiction. Think about it. Have you ever replayed an argument in your head for hours, maybe even days? You imagine the perfect comeback. You wish they would finally understand your point. You wait for an apology that never comes. You secretly hope they'll admit you were right all along. On the outside, you look composed. On the inside, you're still trapped. The truth is this: as long as your peace depends on someone agreeing with you, respecting you, apologizing to you, or seeing things your way, your emotional state is no longer yours. You've handed the keys to your happiness to another person, and they don't even know they're holding them. That's not freedom. That's emotional dependence disguised as confidence. This is where Stoicism delivers one of its most powerful lessons. The Stoics understood something that most people spend their entire lives missing. There are only two categories in life: what you can control and what you cannot. Your actions, yours. Your character, yours. Your discipline, yours. Your response, always yours. But another person's opinions, their attitude, their respect, their apology, their behavior, none of these belong to you. Yet most men spend their lives trying to control exactly those things. They argue longer than necessary. They explain themselves over and over. They chase validation. They demand fairness. And when they don't receive it, they suffer. Not because reality hurt them, but because reality refused to obey their expectations. This is exactly what Epictetus meant when he said, "You suffer not from what happens, but from your judgment about what happens." Think about that for a moment. The argument itself isn't what's destroying your peace. It's your belief that the argument must end with you being understood. That belief is the prison. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and deciding that you no longer need anyone to validate your worth. You no longer need to win every disagreement. You no longer need the final word. You no longer need everyone to like you. How much lighter would your mind feel? How much energy would you recover? Because here's the irony: the strongest man in the room isn't the one who always wins debates. It's the one who knows which battles aren't worth fighting. Freedom begins the moment you realize that silence is often more powerful than another explanation. Not because you've given up, but because you've graduated beyond needing permission to feel at peace. Every unnecessary argument steals something valuable from you. It steals your focus. It steals your sleep. It steals your emotional energy. It steals your presence with the people who actually matter. Ask yourself this question whenever you're about to prove someone wrong. Do I want to be right, or do I want to be free? Most of the time, you can't have both. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you. Others are too proud to apologize. Some simply don't share your values. And that's okay. You don't have to carry their confusion, as your burden. The Stoics believed your character speaks louder than your explanations ever could. Let your consistency become your argument. Let your actions become your proof. Let your peace become your victory. Because real confidence doesn't demand agreement. Real confidence doesn't beg for validation. Real confidence doesn't waste hours convincing strangers or even loved ones to think differently. It simply lives according to its principles and allows others to think whatever they choose. That kind of freedom is rare, and that's why it's so powerful. The next time someone insults you, misunderstands you, or refuses to admit they're wrong, pause before reacting. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself, is my peace worth sacrificing just to win this moment? Most of the time, the answer is no. Walk away. Protect your mind. Protect your energy. Protect your peace. Because the man who no longer needs to be right becomes the man no one can manipulate. His emotions are no longer controlled by other people's opinions. His self-worth no longer rises and falls with praise or criticism. He has discovered something infinitely more valuable than winning. He has discovered freedom. And that is the kind of strength no one can take away. 5. You have no daily practice, just willpower. Willpower is a terrible long-term strategy. It's a muscle that fatigues by 3 p.m. That's why men who seem fine all day snap at their families by evening. They ran out of willpower hours ago and didn't know it. The Stoic fix. Stoicism was never meant to be theory. It was a daily practice. 2 tools, 5 minutes total, every single day. Morning preparation. Before you even check your phone, mentally rehearse the friction you'll likely face. Marcus Aurelius did this every morning, reminding himself he'd encounter ungrateful, rude, and difficult people that day, not out of pessimism, but so nothing could catch him off guard. Evening review at night. Ask 3 questions. Where did I lose control today? What triggered it? What will I do differently tomorrow? This isn't self-punishment. It's pattern recognition. You cannot fix what you refuse to track. Do this for 30 days, and you will notice something most men never experience. A baseline calm that doesn't require effort to maintain because you've already done the work earlier in the day instead of in the heat of the moment. Emotional control isn't about feeling less. It's about needing less from your environment in order to feel okay. Most men have it backward. They think strength is the absence of feeling. The Stoics knew the opposite. Strength is feeling everything and still choosing your response on purpose. You don't need to become cold. You need to stop being run by things you never even named.